Hello everyone, welcome back to new travel log. This time we are traveling to Hong Kong, often considered the skyscraper capital of the world, known for its incredible skyline, busy streets and amazing city vibe. As always, our trip begins from beautiful Terminal 2 of Kempegowda International Airport, one of the best airport terminals in India. For this trip, we are flying with Singapore Airlines with a transit through Singapore before reaching Hong Kong. We reached Singapore after around 4 hours of flight and had a long layover of about 12 hours before our next flight. So we spent some time exploring Singapore Changi Airport. After that, we wanted to get some rest. But since the airport was quite crowded, we couldn't find any empty seats in the snooze zone. So we ended up sleeping on chairs for a while before our next flight. After another 4 hours of flight, we finally arrived in Hong Kong. As soon as we landed, we bought a local SIM card and an Octopus card, which can be used in Hong Kong and Macau for public transport and also in many shops for payments. We decided to take the bus to the city as it was a cheaper option. After around 30 minutes, we were in the heart of the city, surrounded by tall skyscrapers. After checking in, our first stop was Victoria Peak. To reach the peak, best option is to take peak tram from Central. Since it was already late at night, around 8 pm, the tram was almost empty and we got to enjoy the ride with uninterrupted views. However, as the peak was covered with the fog, we did not get any good views of the city, which was kind of disappointing. On the second day, we started with Hong Kong Observation Wheel. Since the queues were shorter, we quickly got into a cabin without much waiting time. The wheel goes around twice, and as it is located right on the waterfront, it offers beautiful panoramic views of the harbour, surrounding skyscrapers, and the Hong Kong skyline. From there, we headed to the famous Monster Building, one of the Hong Kong's most popular photo spots, known for its packed apartments and unique design. The endless rows of flats and letterboxes really show how many people live in there. It was also featured in Transformers Age of Extinction movie. After Monster Building, we went to Manmo Temple. The temple had a unique Chinese vibe with traditional interiors. One of the most interesting things we saw were the circular incense coils hanging from the ceiling, and they were everywhere. Our next stop was Taikwan, which was once a British era police station and prison complex, including the old Victoria prison. Now it has been restored and turned into a cultural center while still keeping the old buildings and architecture. Our final stop for the day was Simsa Shui Promenade, where we watched Symphony of Lights. To be honest, it was a bit disappointing. It was mostly just few buildings flashing lights from the top and nothing too special. After the show, we walked along the promenade, looked at some art installations, and watched cruise ships and ferries passing by the harbour. We then sat there for some time just enjoying the views before heading back to the hotel. Our next day started with a visit to Nanlian Garden and Chilin Nunnery. As soon as we entered, we saw detailed wooden replicas of ancient Chinese palaces and buildings, showing traditional Tang Dynasty style architecture. After that, we explored the garden, which had lakes, pagodas, wooden bridges, and beautiful traditional Chinese style architecture. Since it was raining on and off, the park was not very crowded, which made the walk even better. We then checked out the ceramic pottery collection before heading towards the temple complex. We finally visited Chilin Nanari, a Buddhist temple complex built in traditional Tang dynasty style, completely without using nails. Recording inside the temple was not allowed. From there, we headed to Kowloon Walled City Park. This place was once the famous Kowloon Walled City, known for being one of the most densely populated places in the world, with more than 30,000 people living inside a very small area. Today, the old city has been turned into a park, but you can still see parts of its history through old remains, models, and displays showing what city looked like before it was demolished in the 1990s. The next day was for visiting Tian Tan Buddha. To get there, we first took a bus from the city to the cable car station. We got the front seats on the top floor of the bus, so the journey itself was very nice with great views of the city, roads, mountains, and greenery along the way. Once we reached the cable car station, there was a pretty long queue. We had to wait for almost an hour before finally getting into the cabin. We took the standard cabin, although there was also a crystal cabin with the glass floor, but we skipped that since it was more expensive. The cable car ride had amazing views of surrounding mountains, hiking trails, and even International Airport of Hong Kong. During the ride, weather became very windy and foggy, and the cabin kept shaking because of the strong winds. A British woman sharing the cabin with us got really scared and even started crying during the ride. Once you reach the top, there are few shops and restaurants to relax. And after that, we had to climb around 250 steps to reach Tian Tan Buddha statue. It usually takes around 15 to 20 minutes to climb the stairs. Inside the Buddha statue, there are old scriptures, paintings, and stories related to Buddha. It is also believed to house a sacred relic from Gautam Buddha. Also at the top, we visited Polin Monastery, where we saw devotees offering large incense sticks as part of their prayers. The temple also had beautiful golden Buddha idols inside. Later from there, we visited a fishing village. Since we have already seen similar fishing villages back in our hometown, it did not feel very different to us. Our next day started with visit to Wong Tai Sin Temple, one of the most famous temples in Hong Kong. At the entrance, the temple had some really interesting statues, and as soon as we entered, it started raining heavily. With the rain and smoke from the incense sticks, the temple looked really beautiful, and behind the temple, there was also a small park with koi fish ponds, gardens, and more traditional statues. From there, we headed to Hong Kong Palace Museum. On the way, we passed right below International Commerce Center, the tallest building in Hong Kong. At first, the top of the building was completely covered in clouds because of the rain, but after some time, the clouds cleared and we were finally able to take some good pictures. The museum building itself looked amazing, with a huge outdoor space offering great views of the city skyline. Inside, the museum had many galleries mainly focused on artifacts from different Chinese dynasties, with items like paintings, ceramics, jade, furniture, and ancient royal objects on display. The main galleries also had some really attractive digital artworks and laser projections. The museum also had a special Egyptian gallery where artifacts loaned from Egypt were being displayed temporarily. Because of the heavy crowd, we could not capture much inside the gallery, but we did manage to take some photos. The waiting time to enter Egyptian section was almost an hour. After visiting the museum, we headed back to the promenade to take a night cruise and experience the city skyline from the water. The cruise offered beautiful views of the city on both sides, with all the buildings lit up against the night sky. Combined with the calm sea and cool weather, it felt like a perfect relaxing end to the day. Our next day started out with a visit to Hong Kong Park, a large park located in the middle of the city surrounded by tall skyscrapers. Even though it is in a busy area, the park had lots of greenery, walking paths, ponds, fountains, and small waterfalls, making it a nice place to relax for some time. One of the most interesting parts of the park was a large aviary where we could see many different birds inside a huge enclosed area. The park also had a conservatory with different climate sections like tropical, humid, and desert environments with different types of plants. After the park, we quickly went into Central Market to explore. The place had a mix of small shops, cafes, food stalls, and art displays across multiple floors. Finally, we took a ride in the famous Hong Kong tramways, one of the oldest tram systems in the world, and called it a day. The next day was our final day in Hong Kong. After exploring the city for past few days, it was finally time to head to our next destination, Macau. To get there, we boarded a turbojet ferry, one of the most popular ways to travel between Hong Kong and Macau, across the South China Sea. So stay tuned for Macau video.